Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Northernlion, and I'm playing the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus strong and fast run with a little bit of a misuse of our spacebar item last time, but that's okay. DAC AVL7. Speed, rate of fire, damage. More than acceptable. This is a very good start. We got Nun's Habit as well. We have the D4. I have a rule about the D4. Rules are made to be broken, but this one has been broken too many times, and that's why there's a rule. This rule is not like, you know, you must wait 30 minutes after eating to swim in the swimming pool. This rule is like, no running on the deck. There's a very good reason for it. And what's the reason? Well, I'll tell you the rule, and then I'll tell you the reason. We only reroll once per floor. At a minimum once per floor, but once per floor at, not at most, but, okay, like, okay, I've done a very bad job of explaining it so far. We only have an obligation to roll once per floor. If our run is trash after the roll, then we can roll again. But we don't roll every time there's a charge available, because we have a history of breakfasting ourselves, and that leads to these chest floors that are 12 HP 1 damage, and are just no fun for anybody at all, including the viewer. You'll just have to take my word. So we'll roll once per floor. That's my methodology. That's my MO. We'll start as soon as we get down to the next floor. Not on this floor, because we have like no items. So we'll just play it slow for now. I have a story. I told it on the NLSS like a week ago, which is why I think the metaphor is fresh in my head. But I took swimming lessons as a child, a little later than I should have probably, or than I would have liked to have, but it worked out either way. What do we got? Well, we got a Chaos card. Wait, what was our other card? Devil. Okay, we will take the Chaos card then. This seems fine, by the way. For now, at least. It was probably like my 3rd or 4th swimming lesson, so I was basically a pro. And I was maybe 6. Let's say 6, because that's a non-embarrassing age for this to happen. I saw swimming lesson was basically over. My mom showed up, and I was like, time to go. Probably like get home so I can play some video games, right? I got out of the pool and ran across the deck. Wet feet on the ceramic tile of the pool deck, or whatever you'd call it. And, you know, they say no running. And you're always like, yeah, no running. That's for, like, the people who have bad balance and will fall down. Well, I got some news for you. It wasn't really a bad balance thing. Turns out, that's just mad slippery. I fell down. I smashed my face on the tile. Kids are resilient, you know. I had a bloody nose, and it kind of like involuntarily makes you tear up when something like that happens, because you're just so shocked. You're like mad at the ground. You're like, how could you? We've been working together for 6 years. I use you to get to places, and you don't fall down or cause me to trip. I thought that's the agreement we had. And yeah, so it was like an embarrassing moment. But to the instructor's credits, they were not like, oh, are you okay? They were like, that's why there's a rule. And that's a lesson that has stuck with me as a result of that for a long, long time. They weren't like, oh, we gotta get that floor fixed. They were like, well, what do you expect, you idiot? We told you not to run. You ran, you slipped, and you know, cracked your nose open a little bit. It was when I learned a valuable lesson about, you know, a lot of rules existing for a good reason. I always think that a lot of people could use that lesson when it comes to speed limits. I'll level with you. Do I think that a lot of speed limits are too low? I do. And I'm ashamed to admit it, because I know on a logical level there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and, you know, accidents happen all the time. But I've never been in one. And I'm not saying I should be in one, but I'm saying it would probably do a good job at teaching me a little bit about why those speed limits exist in the first place. Whenever I'm doing 20 over the speed limit on the highway, I get passed by somebody doing 50 over the speed limit on the highway, I'm like, that guy. There's a guy who has never experienced what can happen to you in a car. By the way, what is happening to me on this run? I have no clue whatsoever what's going on. Is this our... Oh no. Oh no. We gulped our weird trinket. And now our shots come out all jacked up. This is a reroll if I've ever seen one. So yeah, some rules definitely exist for a reason. Some rules based in, you know, circumstance, conjecture, superstition, etc., etc. Superstitions are really weird, right? Because some of them are like nonsense and some of them are common sense. Spill the salt. You got to throw a little salt over your shoulder, right? In order to... for what? I don't know. It sounds like it was invented by some dude who wanted to sell more salt back in like the 1400s. That one makes no sense. Break a mirror, 7 years bad luck, makes no sense. Walk under a ladder, it's bad luck? Yeah, no kidding. Someone could drop a paint bucket on your head or something like that. You ever see a cartoon? That one just seems like common sense to me. We're going for a reroll here. As soon as is conceivably possible, by the way. I don't know if you guys... I always get ripped on a little bit for being sheltered. And the main reason is that I've never broken a bone in my entire life. I have the exact same anecdote that Rob does. 1 second. Much better. I was actually hoping to get tractor beam. Whoa. I have the exact same anecdote that Rob does, which is like, whenever people ask me if I've broken a bone, I'm like, well, I think I broke a toe once, but they don't really, you know, do x-rays for it, so, but it like hurt a great deal, so I've just been going around for the past 28 years thinking I broke a toe once and thinking that that made me kind of a badass, but I never got it checked, so I've come to the determination that probably I have not broken my toe. I probably just hurt it real badly and there was a deep bruise, but who knows. But I have cracked my nose open a couple of times. There was the pool deck. I cracked it open twice when I played baseball, even though I didn't play at a high level. The first one, I remember your name, Jeffrey. Do you remember? Tum 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 tum. We were playing catch before our baseball game. Oh, Jeffrey. You told me to look in the direction away. Oh, Jeffrey. Okay, so basically we were playing catch to warm up for the baseball game. And then he said, look over there. And when he said, look over there, I looked. And then he threw the ball. And then he went, oh! And that's what killed me. Because when he said, oh! I turned around. And it turned out that he had thrown the ball after he said, look over there. Which I don't, you know, I don't really blame him. In today's day and age, you know, I'm of the realization that, you know, you're kids. Your brains don't really work right. It was a jerk thing to do, but, you know, you don't understand what's happening at that age to some extent. It wasn't like he was one. Like, he wasn't a baby. But still, you know. You just do things and you don't fully grasp the consequences. That's what being a kid's all about, right? What on earth have we done? And then, yeah, I turned around, caught me right in the nose. I'm a trooper, though, and I mean that sincerely. I don't think I'm a badass, you know? But I, went to the bathroom. It was cracked up and bleeding pretty bad. Filled a couple of tissues full of blood, and then I was like, alright, when's the game? And then the ultimate robbery from my standpoint is that I didn't even get the chance to do like a Michael Jordan-style flu game where people were like, oh my god, he's so resilient. Because the game got rained out. So I just went home, so there was no point for me to have even been at the practice in the first place. What a ripoff, right? And then the third time, this is the second last time I ever bloodied my nose real bad. It was another baseball practice, probably like several years later. And I was pitching and, you know, gave this dude a meatball right over the center of the plate. He sends it back and says I ordered the linguine. catches me in the face. Not too hard, but, you know, hard enough. I got my glove up just in time to at least, like, dampen some of the pressure, but it still hit me in the nose and it starts to bleed. Everyone freaks out. Like, as a kid, you don't get it, I think. You know, you're like, I got hit in the face, but I'm fine. Yeah, it hurts, but, like, you know, I don't have a concussion or anything. But I can't even imagine, like, if you're the baseball coach and you get, like, entrusted with these children's health and well-being, and then one of them catches a projectile right in the face, and you're like, oh, no. Kiss Coach of the Year goodbye, right? It's like you've failed at your responsibility to some extent, even though there's nothing you could have done about it at all. What is this? We never should have gulped that trinket. Anyway. There's only one other time, and that time is by far the most embarrassing. I was in my freshman year of college. By the way, this will date me quite a lot. I was in my freshman year of college, and I lived in the dorms, but I was going home for reading week, which is like spring break, sort of. But it's meant to be like to study for midterms, but I don't know, like, it's lost the plot over the years, because now, like, half your midterms are before reading week, and because they're like, well, we want you to have fun on reading week, and I'm like, yeah, we'll tell that to my, you know, anatomy professor, who says we got an exam the day after we come back. It puts a real damper on things. Anyway, the point is, I disconnected my desktop computer. And I want to point out in my own defense, this is before tablets existed. The only laptop that existed was a Lenovo ThinkPad. My parents are like, we're not going to buy you a ThinkPad. You'll just take the desktop, because you just use a pen and paper in class, you know? I did eventually get a laptop. But it was like a sign of opulence, still. In 2006, in my freshman year, if someone showed up with like a laptop in class, you're like, oh, okay, Mr. Moneybags. By 2010, everybody was showing up with MacBooks, but, you know, it's just a sign of the times, how quickly things can change. Well, we pop this, take this. No, we lose the effect. Reroll the whole run. Oh, this seems very dangerous. So I went and I got my desktop computer. I was leaving the dorm. Huge, heavy door, like a security door, right? And, hey, get out of here. Basically, I just opened the door in my own face and caused my nose to bleed. So from my parents' perspective, I came down with, like, a backpack full of clothes. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get my computer. I'll be back in a second. And I came back down 2 minutes later, and my face was all bloody. And they're like, what happened? And I'm like, you're not gonna believe this, but I opened the door into my own face. And they're like, no, who hit you? And I'm like, I hit me. And then, you know, to their credit, they're like, yeah, we believe that. I mean, we did raise you. We know what you're like. So that's the story of the 4 times I've made my nose bleed. I was wearing an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. I even noticed when I was at that Hitman 2 event, when I used to travel for events, you brought an external hard drive, and then they had a software, like gameplay recorder, like Fraps. You plug in your external hard drive, you'd record like hundreds of gigabytes of footage, transfer it onto your external drive, and then you're good to go. I popped out my external drive at this Hitman event, and people looked at me like I was 100,000 years old. They're like, what are you doing with that, Grandpa? And I was like, you know, for the gameplay capture. And then they pointed at the machine. The machine they had just records from the screen onto a micro SD card, and it's good to go. And I was like, you're just giving us the micro SD? I was like an old man that's like at a restaurant, and he's like, but the bread's free, right? Like, you're not charging for the bread? Okay, I'll have some more bread then. Like, free micro SD card? Let's go! What is a micro SD card? Anyway, it's the pace of technology, man. I am not an old man from a technological standpoint. But the thing about today's society is that, you know, things change so fast. Even within the past 10 years, if you go back to, like, when I think back to 2008, I had a phone. It was the state-of-the-art phone. It was a slide phone. called LG chocolate. Maybe not state-of-the-art, but in the past 10 years, we've gone from having a phone that can play blackjack to like a phone that could probably land a man on the moon if it had a, you know, the kind of right brain running it. Like, the processing power is out of control. Tablets didn't exist. The concept of a tablet made no sense to me at first. I was like, okay, it's like a laptop with no keyboard. And they're like, well, yeah, but like, you know, that's not it. The thing is, it's really convenient and lightweight, and the battery life's really good, and you know, it's the perfect thing when you're like cooking dinner, you just pop on something there. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, Grandpa. Why wouldn't I just have a mirror pointed at my desktop computer monitor to reflect whatever I'm watching on my desktop into the kitchen? It's like you didn't even consider why this product should even exist. Now we have, like, you know, we have a tablet. We have several tablets. Tablets are so cheap. I have 3, and I had to think because I might actually have 4 Amazon Fire tablets. When you do Champions of Fire, they're just like, how many you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Seems like asking for more than 1 is a little ridiculous. I'm not going to use like 6 tablets at once. So now I've done it for 2 years. I gotta remember which tablet has like which games on it, which is its own song and dance. But anyway, back in the day, well, I mean, I didn't live back in the day. You know, I live in the modern day. I just have an old soul somehow. But back in the day, I'm pretty sure, you know, your dad just was like, this is the cotton gin. You whirl this lever over here and the cotton gin just sort of goes. Any questions? And you're like, nah. And then that was your life for like 55 years. Now it's like, I don't even... There's a bike rental service in Vancouver. You don't even... and it's taken over. I want that to be clear. It's not like a niche thing. A lot of people here don't even own their own bikes. They bike all the time. But they just use this, like, micro bike rental service. Oh, what's up with the frame rate? Like, you guys have, like, Moto, Car2Go, Zipcar, stuff like that. You know, it's like that, but for bikes. And, I have no idea how it works. It's the oldest I've ever felt in my life. Nah. I see all these people riding around, and I'm like, so you, let me get this straight. You just go over to the bike, and then you, like, tap your card, and then it gives you the bike, and then you deposit the bike at your destination, because there's all these, like, bike parking lots that are set up for it, and then you just get charged automatically. It's incredible to me. It could not have existed many, many years ago. Even now, like, you go to, like, a farmer's market, and maybe this is a big city thing, but, you know, when you and your betrothed go to the farmer's market to pick up some organic honey because the allergy seasons is really bad this year. Oh, you guys don't... Yeah, I don't really get it either. I still do it from time to time. And dude, there's a bespoke ravioli place at the Granville Island Public Market. Oh, some of the best raviolos you've ever had. And it's only like $30 a noodle too. Are they $30 a pocket? I don't know what you call ravioli. Anyway, the point is, you'll be like, you know, it'll be like a 50-year-old lady, and she's like, I crocheted a water bottle holder for your bicycle. And you're like, that's sick. That seems like a good use of $93. So, you know, she goes, how will you pay? And you're like, what are you talking about? We're at a farmer's market. And she busts out like this white square, plugs it into her iPad, and it's a credit card swiper. What a world! Also, I'm in a lot of trouble if the homeless population ever gets their hands on these. Because, and this is going to sound like very needlessly truculent, I don't carry cash, for the most part. So I have a great excuse when I get asked for spare change. I just say, you know, I don't say it in like the jerk way. Hey, it's 2018, buddy. Nobody's carrying cash these days. Get with the times, you know. I'm just like, sorry, I don't have any cash. If they go, that's not going to be a problem. All of a sudden, I've got to have the real conversation with them, which is, oh, we have Ludo here, but it's very strange. Which is like, okay, well, like, I do have my credit card, but at the same time, you know, I have given money to the homeless population in the past, but I don't know if it actually alleviates the concerns or if it's enabling, and we can't seem to have like a real conversation about it, because when you suggest that it's enabling, people go, who are you to decide what they do with their money? And I'm like, it's my money, but also I just want to, like, if it actually helps, then I have very little problem doing it, and I'll start carrying cash because I don't want to give you my credit card details. I've had them skimmed a number of times to get a fraud alert like once every 3 months, and it's very stressful to deal with, okay? But I just don't know. Then the homeless person is like, you know what, buddy? I got a long day ahead of me. Can you just F off? And I'm like, that seems extremely appropriate. Thank you for freeing me from this obligation. Best of luck to you in your vagabondery, and, you know, if we ever come to a consensus, I'll meet you there. It's hard, you know. I hesitate to even bring up anything related to homelessness for a number of reasons. One of which is that, you know, different people are homeless for different reasons. Obviously, it's a complicated issue. When I was a kid, my impression of homelessness from the adults around me and the way that they reacted is like, yeah, they're just too lazy to get a job. They just want to... They're on vacation just sleeping on the street in January. Wish I could do that, but unfortunately, I gotta pay my taxes. And that's like just an idiotic attitude to have, obviously. No offense, Grandpa. But like, and there's always like these folk tales that people have that make no sense whatsoever. Yeah, suck it up. They'll be like, I saw someone on Robson Street, very boutique street in downtown Vancouver. After they finished begging, they got in their Tesla S Roadster and rode away. No, they didn't. That's a story that you heard from somebody else who just wanted an excuse to, like, have a boilerplate reason to never give the homeless people money. I'm not saying there's not beggars who have cars, but nobody on planet Earth... Okay, I can't say nobody, because, you know, it's a wild world out there. I don't think there's too many people on this planet who are like, man, you know what my dream job is? Sitting out in the elements and being judged by passers-by and then earning somewhere between $0 and $30 an hour, you know? Just doesn't strike me as the kind of thing that most people aspire to. So I think all those stories are overstated. But also, and again, don't take this the wrong way, people think that if you don't give money to the homeless, you're callous. I grew up in a smaller town. You knew the homeless population, because there were like 15 people. And you're like, oh, that's, you know, the lady who's on Percocet every day, but she's really nice, and, you know, she's been there for 20 years, and she's, like, really friendly. It's different here, because there's, like, tens of thousands. And people throw money at it, and it just, you know, it seems naive. I guess we're doing a little 1 minute little cap here to make myself feel better. But, you know, the current mayor of Vancouver ran on a platform, and he's like, check it out, guys. By 2014, homelessness is going to be eradicated. And we're like, that sounds good. I want that guy. I think it would be cool if all those people had jobs and lived in houses and could, you know, get themselves out of the rut that they're in. And now we're in 2018, and, you know, every McDonald's has a security guard to stop panhandling inside of the store. It's not that easy, you know, it's a complicated problem. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. This is a 24-minute episode. That's crazy fast. My apologies, and also you're welcome. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.